Hey guys, how you doing today? We're gonna have black beans for dinner, and we're gonna use the Instant Pot to cook them. Black beans and dry beans in general were always something that I kind of shied away from because I always thought it was going to be way too difficult to do, but it's really simple. We always enjoy having black beans. Stephanie has a really great recipe to make black beans vegan taco meat. It starts with a black bean base, and she uses quinoa. It's a really tasty substitute. The original recipe was for substitute to use as a taco salad, but Liam and I both found that it tasted great just on a taco shell. So that's kind of the way we do it. Again, they're versatile. You can use them for burritos, all kinds of different meals. So it's a really great, tasty option. So come on and join me. We'll get going making the black beans. So here I have my black beans. I have been soaking them all night. So we're just going to drain this off, and then we're going to move on to the next step. So now we're just going to return our beans back into our Instant Pot. I like to soak them right in the pot we're going to cook them in, because why dirty an extra dish? And then once we have the beans back in here, you're going to fill it up approximately 2 inches above the beans, and that gives you plenty of liquid to cook the beans once they're in the Instant Pot. For anyone familiar with using an Instant Pot, there are a few things to remember. Is the level of the water that you have above the beans. Make sure you do that. There is also a maximum fill line, so you don't want to go over that. Next thing to remember is that these come with a silicone ring that's actually a seal that goes inside. I bought an extra set of these for 2 reasons. These do wear out over time, but one thing to remember is if you cook savory dishes, which you'll see some of the ingredients I have in this, they're definitely spicy and not necessarily hot, but just a flavorful and very aromatic scent that comes out. It stays with this mold once you start to use it. So the best thing to do is to buy an extra set of them. They're not too much. I think it was about $10 for a set of 3 of them on Amazon. So if you're ever planning to make something besides savory things in your Instant Pot, because you can bake desserts and other kinds of things like that, you probably wouldn't want to use the same one that you use to make beans that you would to make a dessert of some sort. You wouldn't want a cheesecake with a hint of cumin. So there's kind of a lip with a little raised ring that's on the inside. So the way this works, this is actually reversible. It doesn't matter which direction you put it in, but the way you get it in is it kind of slides in place around that raised ring, and you just want to stretch it in place, and once it's seated in there, you'll kind of see it pop in place. When we bought our Instant Pot, ours came with the handy dandy cooking timetables, and it really is a useful thing to keep on hand. We keep it right in our drawer so that we can have quick access to it and refer to the cooking times. Different types of beans do cook in a different time frame, so you want to make sure you keep this handy. Black beans, which is what I'm cooking today, the soaked time is 6 to 8 minutes. When it comes to seasoning for your Instant Pot beans, really it's up to you. It's whatever kind of flavors you like. You want to make sure you do add some salt into the beans, because that really is going to bring out the flavor. When adding that salt to the pan though, you want to make sure you don't add it to the direct bottom of the pan, because according to the instructions, it can cause some problems with the stainless steel if you add the salt on the bottom. So make sure you already have your beans and water in there before you add any salt. For me, I've got a few different seasonings. I use seasoned salt, Italian seasoning, chili powder, smoked paprika, ground cayenne pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. So when you plug in your Instant Pot, it's going to come on immediately. You'll hear a beep. And now we're going to take our lid and put it in place. And it does a funny little tune when you first put it on, and also when you lock it in place. It makes a nice little tone telling you that it's seated properly. Since we're cooking this as a pressure, we want to put it under sealing. Make the little gray arrow point straight at the front of the pot. Once again, referring back to our cooking guide, black beans cook for 6 to 8 minutes. So from here, we're going to actually just press manual. It's the button right down here on the bottom. And then we're going to set it to 8 minutes, which the last time I used it, it was 8 minutes, so it remembers that. So once you press that, just wait a few seconds and it will start. Once your digital display reads on, then it's in the cooking process. It's going to take a few minutes for it to come up to a boil and before it starts to seal. So that 8 minutes is not actually 8 minutes. It's going to go a little longer than that, of course, depending on how hot your water is. If you start with warm water, which I usually do, it's going to come up to a boil faster. So at this point, I'm going to leave it. It's going to stay on for a little while. When it comes up to pressure, it's going to kick on the timer. It's going to cook for the 8 minutes, and then it will go to a slow release on the vent. So that means it will naturally decompress if you just leave it alone, and there'll be a timer that'll kick on and it'll just kind of continue. And you can leave it and let it sit for a long time. We've left it for an hour or 2 hours if we're doing something, and that way we have the beans ready to go. You can do a manual decompression, but it does kind of make a big steamy and watery mess. It'll come right out of the top of the vent, but it depends on how hungry you are. So now the Instant Pot is going to do its natural decompression, and as you can see, the timer begins to count up from 0. Now it's time for the best part. The variance of seasons really brings out the brightness of the beans. It's such a versatile meal. We like to have beans and rice a lot, but you can really do so many different things once you've cooked them. Like I mentioned before, you can make burritos with them. You can make the vegan recipes for different taco meats, or just eat them plain. It's a really good, versatile, tasty meal. I hope you enjoyed that video today. Let me know what your recipes are. If you have a favorite way of cooking beans in your Instant Pot, let me know in the comments. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see more.